Okay, there we go. So this is the first of two meetings. There are a couple of things that will happen in the next meeting. So when it hits the idea in your brain that you say, oh, that's what I really want to talk about, remember this one next month. The first thing is what we call entertainment. It's places like Netflix that have movies and all of that. And special things like I was talking earlier about a French language channel. Okay. We're not going to try and cover that today. Today, we're really going to focus on the cutting the cord question. All right. Which is basically how to get the most out of the money you're going to spend to access what's on television. But I moved my computer. Hopefully that's what you needed. All right. Okay. Okay. Is that working? All right. Okay. So what we're going to talk about first is an introduction to streaming. Then we're going to look a little bit at what is Comcast or Xfinity's overall pricing structure, because it is truly arcane, truly designed to take full advantage of your willingness to sign up without knowing all the extra charges they're going to throw at you. So we'll talk about how that's all constructed. It doesn't mean that in the final analysis, you can't decide you're going to be happy with Comcast, okay? You may be happy with Comcast, but you ought to know what you're paying for and feel you're getting your money's worth. We're going to talk about internet. Nothing we can talk about today changes the fact that you have to have home internet that works. So we'll talk about that, but we can't get rid of internet. However, many of us have more internet bandwidth than we need. So we'll talk a little bit about how much you should have and how much you should pay for it.
How much you have? Is it on the bill? It's on my desk.
Okay. And then I have some additional observations after we talk about the options to cable. So when you talk about Comcast Xfinity, and I'm using the old term Comcast only because it's in my brain, so put up with it. You're talking not only about cable, which includes the service, the equipment you pay for, and a bunch of fees you're paying. But you're also talking about internet often. You're also talking about many people have landlines and many people have mobile, and they're trying desperately to get more of you to sign up for mobile with Comcast. So just as a fact. Before I go further, I'd like to thank Bruce Bond and Judy, who's not here, Judy Coleman, and in any case, for helping me think this through. Okay, this is a fairly complex topic. So why does Comcast cost so much? One of the reasons is you may have an old contract. We signed up for Comcast last time, maybe 10 years ago. And when we checked it recently, we found that we were paying for a lot of stuff that as their internal charges changed, moved from less expensive to more expensive, and more things that we're paying for that we don't use. So you may have an old contract. you ought to be sure you've looked at your bill. So if you can do that online, that's fine. If you can't, go to the Xfinity store. It's down across the street from Target, down on Santa Rosa Avenue, okay? And have them show you your bill in all the detail. Think about whether you use all the channels and equipment that you have. We have a two-bedroom, three-room house. We have a TV in the kitchen. We use it. We have a TV in the TV room. We use it. We have a TV in the master bedroom. We use it. We have a TV in the guest bedroom, never used. But you're paying for that too. So you have to think about whether you want that. So you go through, what are you actually using? 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you wanted to watch movies, you signed up for things like HBO. Many people now do a Netflix. Are you signed up for parts of the cable system that you don't use, but they're extra? HBO is extra. Okay. And if you stream something like Netflix, it's unlike or Amazon Prime, it's unlikely you need HBO or Stars. And then the speed of your internet. Also, when you look at your bill, if you have a landline, it's an add-on to the bill. And if you had cell phone, that would be an add-on. For today's purposes, mentally take those off. We're only talking about the cable portion and the internet part. So these are the basic Comcast fees today. If you walk down and say, I'd like to sign up, they'll say, okay, our basic is $30 a month, ain't much on it, but you can get the local channels. You can get a few other things. That gives you C-SPAN, stuff like that, and home shopping network, stuff like that. You get about 30 channels. But it gives you local, which is an important part for many people. Most people sign up for what's called the popular plan. Popular plan is the Weather Channel, MSNBC, CNBC, the Bay Area sports, which is the Giants and the Warriors, and some on-demand movies that you don't have to pay extra for. Then they have something they call the Ultimate, which isn't actually the Ultimate. It's more just another group of about 50 channels, lots of sports. Then you have channels you can get into for a fee. And for $10, you can get a really great football package added to your basic. Lots of pay-per-view if you want to buy it. These are not internet charges. This is just what they're charging you for the cable. Let me stop here for just one. Let me go 2 more slides and then we'll stop and take a break. But you have equipment. One of the keys to how your television works today is you've got something that is a box that connects your TV to a cable or to the internet. Now, if you look in the other room over there, we're going to take a break later at the end of the meeting, and I'll show you how one of the streaming systems works on the TV that's in the other room. But for that TV to access channels, it uses the internet, and it has a box. And the box is what does that job. Well, you have a Comcast box, right? Probably on top of your television someplace. Okay. Those basically are $9 a piece. So my 4 televisions, that's $36 a month for their box. And you don't have an option. You can't buy your own box. Some of them also require what's called an adapter. That usually happens when you have an older television that is analog, where what's happening is the signal that's coming in from Comcast is digital. Your TV only recognizes analog. So you need an adapter to adapt the signal from Comcast to become the signal. Okay. So in that case, you're paying $18 for that television per month. And after 10 years, that's more than $10. Internet equipment is typically $15 a month. Now, if you get local channels, you pay an extra fee. It may not be all of the $22.50, but in most cases, you're paying $22.50 a month for getting the local channels that you supposedly got for your $30. Does anybody find that hard to understand? Okay, well, the reason is because Comcast belongs to NBC. And if you want to get the local Fox or the local ABC or the local CBS, they have to pay a fee to give that to you over the cable. And then that great sports channel we talked about, there's a second one that also handles the Raiders and the A's. Sports channels there, that next tier up there, the popular one, they cost you another $17.25 a month in addition to that. And that's an access fee. Okay. Mandatory. That's right. Okay. Right. Now we'll talk about that in a couple of minutes when we talk about the alternatives. Okay. Now there's another set of fees that are about 10% of your bill. So whatever your bill adds up to, you add 10%. And that mostly is taxes, because the utility, county utility tax, and there's a sales tax. There's also a couple of charges like for deaf and dumb services. The term of art, according to Comcast, if you go down their list, they say you are paying that for deaf/dumb services. I'm sorry, I just have to, don't blame me. I just came back from the store, right? Okay, and some of these charges are set by the PUC, and somewhere buried in there is 911 service fees that they're trying to get. Okay, and lastly, can you negotiate? Well, typically negotiating means one of three things. Either you change your services, and of course the salesman who's selling you is going to try to get you to buy more. So I went in recently to look at some service, make sure these costs were all up to date, and boy, did he want to sell me a cell phone. You know, I have so many specials you wouldn't believe. A very nice guy, but no argument at all. There is no senior discount. People often think that there must be a senior discount someplace. Nope. There is a low income set of things. And if anybody really feels they belong in that category, it's a $30,000 a year income cap or Medicare. Then I suppose if everybody else, you can always ask me and I can give you some other, or email me. Yeah. Medicaid, sorry, Medicaid. Thank you, Bruce. Okay, now, before we leave the Comcast bill, questions? Everybody knows what they're talking about except that. Oh yes, internet is separate. We're going to get to internet next. Okay. Okay, internet. Somebody said, well, what about me? I have AT&T for my cable. And I sort of said, AT&T for your cable? But the answer is AT&T and DirecTV work together for that. DirecTV's charges are analogous. These were the best I could find on short notice. Yeah, Bruce? For television? Okay, Bruce said that he has had AT&T for television service.
This is why I
No.
want to do that.
Okay. So I'm going to simply say, I don't know that much about the AT&T and DirecTV part of the world. What I do know is DirecTV has similar pricing, and in fact, they have the same fees. Yes. Yes. Yeah, the bundling is throughout this world. And okay, the question was, don't AT&T and DirecTV bundle? And the answer is yes. There's a lot of bundling that goes on here, and it doesn't affect these prices a lot, but it does affect them somewhat. So
Yeah.
we had a theoretical for a long time triple play with Comcast, which meant we were getting internet and cable and also our
Excellent.
landline. But it turned out the discount was like 7 or 8%. Okay, it wasn't very much. Okay. Laurel, do you have a question you want to throw in?
Yeah, I was just going to suggest when somebody asks a question, can you repeat it, please?
I will.
That'd be great. Thank you very much.
Okay. Now, streaming.
What is streaming? Streaming is the process of receiving audio and video content over the internet without having to save anything to your local device. In the past, you had to download entire files to your device to view them. Now, thanks to streaming, the only thing stored on your device is an application for the service of your choice. For example, when you want to watch a movie on Netflix, your chosen content starts at one of their servers and is sent through your broadband connection to your TV or smart device, where it can be viewed immediately. There is a wide variety of streaming platforms available, offering everything from audio programming like music and podcasts to video programming like movies and TV shows. Some services even offer live television broadcasts. As the number of devices in your home start to add up, make sure that you have a fast enough broadband connection to prevent any buffering. Streaming services and their content gives you more control of when and how you watch and listen to programs that matter to you. Want to learn more? Feel free to reach out. What is streaming? Streaming.
Got to figure out how to get to the next slide here. Okay, so the basic place we start is you've got to have good internet connection to do anything we're talking about. In other words, all this streaming stuff is going through the wires, the fiber optics to that internet connection in your house, that box. And that's got to have enough what's called bandwidth to actually service you. So we have 4 servers here. We have Comcast, we have AT&T, we have Sonic, which is available in some parts of Oakmont, not necessarily all. It uses the AT&T lines, I think, mostly. And there's a new thing that's come up, which is the cell phone providers are saying that they will do a connection for you. On the last one, I have not heard anything positive, but do not take that as anything other than they just started the process. But if you think about it, that's coming. We don't get cell phone service in our house unless we're doing it through the Wi-Fi. I mean, you know, we're one of the half people in Oakmont who are down in the valley someplace. Okay. And while with Comcast, you can use their box, what's called a modem router. Modem means the thing that connects us back to the incoming wire, and a router is the thing that sends the message out throughout the house. Okay, but you can buy your own. and most people, I think, who have technical skills at all will buy their own. There's also what are called Wi-Fi extenders. If you have a bigger house, you may have one or two not very expensive extenders that you put around the house to make the Wi-Fi go further faster. Does that make sense to people? Okay. So we'll focus on Comcast. The basic Comcast bill is $20 a month. Now, if you don't have your own modem router, that's plus $15 a month for the rental of the box. That has a bandwidth of what's called 75 megabits. The 75 is generally considered enough for one person using one device. So if you live alone and you're not likely to have 3 computers, you're not going to be on your computer at the same time you're on your television, okay, you probably don't need more than 75. For a 2-person household, generally you're talking about 200. They're going to try and sell you 1,200. Why? Well, 35 a month versus 80 a month, I'd sure try to sell you 2. Okay. So my suspicion would be for most people, the way you signed up is you have more bandwidth than you need. It's a simple matter to cut it back to what you want. And then if that isn't enough, you can always increase it. There's nothing, if you follow me. Now, that also assumes that you don't have a bunch of grandkids who regularly come who are gamers. Okay, I got a daughter in Tennessee who's got 3 20-ish-year-old sons. And if 2 of them are in the house at the same time, I will guarantee you she needs all the bandwidth she can lay her hands on. Okay, so that's it. The other place is if you, for some reason, like to download something like a movie, it is slower with the slower bandwidth. So if you've somehow got addicted to that, just recognize it. But in any case, make sure you're getting what you pay for. Make sure you need it. So we're now going to talk about connection devices. So when you have a Comcast contract, you're paying for that box that's sitting on top of the television. And that box is what talks to the cable and brings you the television stations. So Roku, Apple TV, Fire TV, which is Amazon, and Comcast will sell you something called a Flex box. Those are all boxes. They do the same thing that the Comcast box does. And we're going to take a shot later on and look at a Roku in the other room. New TVs often have that built in. So you turn on your TV and you'll see at the bottom, there'll be a little string of pictures like Netflix and Roku and things like that. If you've got a smart TV, you don't need the box. However, a lot of people who have smart TVs still find that having a $20 Roku as kind of a remote is not a bad idea. Because these are all, until you get to the Flex box, these are all one-time expenses. You buy it, you own it. All right, I may cut this short because I don't know, but this is an easy description of what Roku does. It takes about 4 minutes.
Hey guys, welcome on into today's video where we're going to be doing a basic explanation going over exactly what a Roku player is, what it's for, and how hopefully you can use it so that you can get rid of your traditional satellite or cable TV subscription and save yourself a little bit of money at the end of the day. So a Roku player allows you to stream video content through all these different applications through your television by hooking up through your Wi-Fi internet connection and then using that and connecting it to your television. So you can see here I have my Roku player. It's hooked in with an HDMI cable to the back of my television. All of the current generation Roku players, I'll have a link down in the video description, as well as a video explaining the differences between all of those current generation Roku.
Okay. Is there anybody in the room who feels they need to continue this introduction to something like Roku? Don't be embarrassed, because if there's one of you, there will be definitely 10 of you. Okay, we'll keep going.
Devices, which ones I recommend. So moving on here, once you have your Roku player hooked into your television, as well as hooked into your Wi-Fi internet connection, it's going to allow you to have access to all of these different applications. Some of them are free, some of them have a monthly premium subscription, all of these different options. But to get started, you can go down to the streaming channels section. You click on that, and then they're filtered into all of these different subcategories. I recommend going to the ones that are the most popular. These are the ones that most people download and get onto their device. Also, looking at the top free ones is a great option for those of you that are looking to save even more money by getting rid of that traditional satellite or cable TV subscription and then not going to a paid monthly service. There's some great free options. I really love YouTube. Pluto TV, that's a pretty good option. CBS News 24/7, but definitely YouTube's going to be your best free option. There's just such a variety of content that you can access on YouTube. But if you're looking to get a more traditional satellite or cable TV experience with live channels, then those are going to be applications like Sling TV, Direct TV Now, PlayStation View. Also, Hulu more recently came out with a live TV subscription package, YouTube TV as well. So if you're just looking to get that traditional experience, there's definitely a lot of options. We keep adding more options, it seems, all the time. But other options that you have for premium content, you can get things like a Netflix subscription, as well as just like a regular Hulu subscription without the live TV add-on. Amazon Prime Video, another great option there as well. And those are the kind of channels that are going to have whole seasons of particular shows, as well as a lot of different movies and documentary type content as well. So all of these, for the most part, are going to have free trial periods. So you can go ahead, sign up, try it out for usually a week or so for free. If you don't like it, you can unsubscribe and not pay anything. So great options there. No contract with these things as well. So that pretty much is going to wrap up the end of this video, guys. Again, just going over exactly what a Roku player is. It allows you to get streaming video content over an internet connection onto your television, and a great way for you to hopefully at some point replace your traditional or satellite cable TV provider. It's also great when you pair it with a traditional television antenna to get your local and national channels that way.
Okay, I think that pretty well covers it. So we're going to dig down now a little bit into free, and then the channels that carry the live TV and the other things that you might be interested in. One of the things to remember is this is a dynamic area, and you have to decide that you really want exactly what it is you're signing up for, which you're willing to pay for. So for example, let's say that you're really into Rachel Maddow at MSNBC. Okay, you can get her highlights and you can get her a day late for free. You want her live? That's going to cost. I'm not saying that that's not a good idea, but I am saying be sure that what you're paying for is what you really want in this world. Okay. I'll see if I can figure out how to get out of this again. Yeah. Okay, the question here was, if you don't have TV, what's the internet price? And the answer is you were looking at it. Okay, the one that's on that simply says, how much internet is it that you are, what's the bandwidth that's working at your house. Okay? Okay. So we're going to talk about free services, cable alternatives, and briefly about entertainment. So there's a little bit of confusion in terms. There's a long-standing channel called YouTube, and most of us have watched things on YouTube from time to time and searched YouTube. I have a YouTube channel that I use for this video will be on. Okay? That's totally free. That's what has Rachel Maddow's highlights. There's also something new called YouTube TV. Completely different, although it's owned by the same parent. Okay, so when I'm talking about this, in a minute, I'm going to talk about YouTube TV. Don't get confused. This is the free YouTube. Roku has lots of free content. Pluto is another a lot of live stuff with free content. Now, next meeting, I'm going to talk about how to do this. But the other thing you can do is you can go on your cell phone or your tablet and you can sign on to local TV and watch the news on it. You can also do what is called casting that to your television. Now, that's a fairly arcane, complex thing, but what it is there are ways to connect your device to your television, so what's on the screen of your device shows up on the screen of the television. My wife and I do this sometimes for the lifelong learning classes, which have a, you can watch them on Zoom or you can watch them on a recording, not a problem. We'll throw it up on the TV screen. But that's too complicated to get into today. But I will say that's another way that you can get free, and there you definitely can get all your local channels, Fox 2, 5, 7, etc. And not that I have anything against antennas, but I know there's a mythological area in Oakmont where people can get local channels with an antenna, and God bless you. Okay, then there's the rest of us. But don't ignore that. If by some chance you are up on a hill and have a chance to do that, that might be a good alternative for you. Check with your neighbors. Okay, so what I did was I said, if you were interested in MSNBC, the local stations, and you wanted to watch the Warriors or the Giants, okay, which is NBC Sports, can you do it on these channels? And the answer is YouTube TV. Yep, we'll go watch that in a minute. Hulu has a live TV. Yep. Hulu has a cheaper version with ads. We tried it, and these were like the 5 minutes of ads for 1 minute of TV. Nah. Fubo is another one. DirecTV. You don't have to have a satellite receiver to take DirecTV as a streaming option. Follow me? You can actually sign up for DirecTV and have it just come through over the internet. Sling is a very interesting one. It does not have the sports channels, but it may be a good one for some if you aren't a sports fan. Comcast will sign you up for their normal channels without any boxes. You can just stream it. Okay. So those are the approximate prices. And if you have a channel that's really important to you, you can always say, like we were talking about the French, if you have a channel specifically, you can always say in Google, do a search, Google, what streaming services offer, okay, Metropolitan Opera, okay, and it'll tell you. Okay. Now, This is a fairly meaty slide. Do we have questions at this point? Yep. Well, the short answer is, do you have the box? You have your own. Well, that's an interesting question. They say it's 20. No, there's yeah, but that's 10%. Okay. The short answer is I go talk to them. Okay. Okay, we're into a conversation here about how the numbers I showed for internet may not be correct. And so I have no idea what your situation is. I will say that in the last week, I have talked to them, and those were the numbers I showed. Okay, so no, no. Okay, so again, for those on Zoom, the conversation was about whether or not the low end internet is or is not available at the $20 plus level. Okay, Bruce, you want to handle this? Okay. What Bruce is pointing out is that Comcast is notorious for changing your pricing. Everybody, okay, all of them are for bumping you up in price after your introductory period. Okay, but I thought I had a pretty straight shooter last time I talked. Okay. Okay. Let me cut this one short. So there's a question. Can you be sure I've got your email before you leave? Okay. The question has been about whether the numbers I was showing were low, particularly for the low end, for internet only. And I will have to go back and do some homework on that. Okay. Yes. Yeah. So the comment here is that the fees and such are not in the contract if you do a contract with them. They instead are an add-on. And in fact, one of the things I was reading through was a complaint about the higher and higher costs for cable accessing the local channels. Okay. Now, by the way, what's in here? There's no extra service fee here. Every one of these stations, okay, if you pay YouTube $73 a month, that's what shows up on your credit card. And for that, you get the local channels, you get sports. So those are the two that you're paying extra for if you're in Comcast. Yep. And by the way, also extra for at least the sports one if you're on DirecTV. Yeah. You mean the device, the connecting device? Yes. The question was, when we talk about connecting devices like Roku and Apple TV and that, can you have a different one on a different television? Absolutely. They're totally independent. Okay. What happens when you connect up like a Roku, and we'll do Roku in the other room, is it starts off by saying, who are you? Okay, because that's the way it knows what channels you have permission to use. Then it will say, what is the address for your local internet? So Jack and I got to play around with signing into Oakmont Guest here with that crazy password. And that's for this device. I could have a TV over here and put an Apple on it. Okay, it's specific to all the devices is a connector. Does that make sense, Bert? Okay. Okay, I'm going to take a second and just demonstrate for everybody here my connection to YouTube TV. Oh, come on. Somehow my VPN is on. It shouldn't be. I don't believe this. Just give me a sec. Yeah. Okay, so this is YouTube TV, and it is literally YouTube TV. You can see some of the state channels that I've got on here. For the purpose of discussion, how about let's watch a couple of minutes of Aaron Burnett. If I can get, there we go.
Which is basically Lumi for men. The first whole body deodorant created with 72-hour odor control that men can
I'm not
use
sure
on
about
their
that one.
package in their feet. Go Mando and smell better naked from head to toe, everywhere.
I got this KitchenAid
Sorry about that.
mixer for only $56.
DealDash.com. Online auctions since 2009. This PlayStation 5 sold for only 50 cents. This iPad Pro sold for less.
Let's see if we can read.
North of there is whether this is related in any way. I think that's what a lot of people are wondering.
And Joy, that is the perfect question. And defense officials want to say that this is completely separate and apart from the war that's raging in Israel and in Gaza right now. But the reality is none of this stuff happens in a vacuum. So there have not been.
Okay, so what I've got there is I preset favorites so that MSNBC and CNN and the local sports channel are all favorites. They'll come up first. Okay, and then it has all the channels that you would expect it to have. That's part of the $73 a month, YouTube TV. Yes, there is after the fact streaming. Okay. you can do some recording. Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure I know how to do that right now. You can, yeah. Okay, we have the question that was here was, can you watch prior episodes? The answer is, if I click on MSNBC in general, it'll take me to last episodes of, and then I got Rachel Maddow, and I got each of these people will take me to a prior episode. Or I could rewind at the beginning of this episode. I think, and I haven't done. This is live. What we were just watching is what's on the television right now. Okay? Bruce is asking a slightly related question, which is, could I rewind to the beginning of this show? Could I watch yesterday's show? I know I could watch yesterday's show. I think I can rewind. I haven't done it, so I don't know. It's not something I do. Here we have a question in the back. I think the answer is yes. Okay, but I would say trust me 80%. Okay, and we have that's correct. This is separate from your internet link. What you have to do is constantly think about internet as a separate discussion. And another question back in the back.
Unmute.
We'll get. Okay, so okay, so we've had a long discussion here about someone who cut the cord and basically has replaced the Comcast with channels that she has chosen, ranging from Netflix on through. By the way, with the Roku channel, which is free, I think you can get CBS TV Live. CBS TV Live, if you want live news. Okay, so you ought to look. One of the things that's true here is many of the channels that are on something like Roku or Apple TV are free. And then there's a lot of content on them. You may want to look at what's available there if, in fact, you're willing to really cut the cord. Okay, we have another comment. The short answer is I believe so. But Bruce had asked that question earlier, and I don't know the extent to which that's true. Okay. I will, as a matter of fact, that's a follow-up that I will do. Okay. I'll write it down to do it. Okay. Let me take a quick look. Okay. Okay, so this is a sports game.
Themselves as a team, much like a rookie, and because DoorDash is there for you.
Oh,
DoorDash is
game. Right, never mind, it's no game. Okay, I'm going to go back to the discussion we were having. Okay, so we just got into a brief discussion about streaming services that include things that go outside of the live channel world. Okay, so we're going to talk more about this next month because this is much too complex a topic to get today. But the top ones are Amazon Prime. And that is something where if you are an Amazon Prime member, you get all sorts of other benefits. One of which is you get the Amazon Prime TV. Netflix. Netflix allows you to piggyback on other people's accounts at this time. Yeah. And so just keep that in mind. We're going to talk a minute about piggybacking in a second, but I hope everybody will bear with me while I skate the ethical line carefully. Disney owns Hulu, and there's a bunch of packages that deal with Disney and Hulu TV and all of that. Okay, and then I strongly recommend, if you like anything that's on public radio, public television, you become a contributor to KQED or whatever. And if you give $60, you have a subscription to PBS Passport. PBS Passport means you can watch every episode of something that's just come up on PBS. So when a new show comes in that may have 8 episodes, 1 a week, if you prefer, if you have a PBS Passport, you can watch 1 a night, or you can watch them all night. Okay, yeah.
That's what that is. You pay.
Okay.
50.
All right. We have a topic that says these prices may still be low. Okay. Annual subscriptions often drop the prices of things. There are specials, and then you also have some that have ads, and they are less. Okay. If you are thinking of cutting the cord, to follow a comment that had been made earlier, make sure you know what your prices you're left with are going to be. And I would do this by going down to the Xfinity store and walking through it with them line item by line item. If you have a contract, you need to know that. And most people who are on satellite TV have a contract. Pick whoever you're thinking of as your internet service. If you want to try YouTube TV, they're free the first 21 days. So you can go try it. And you can say, how do I feel about how this works? Does this do what I want? You know, you can pick what you want to go with. By the way, these slides will all be posted, I hope. John? If you're going to get your own modem router, you can do that regardless of whether you cut the cord or not. Okay, there's no reason to pay the $15 a month. You can buy it and install it. If you don't feel comfortable installing it, without my saying that I'm advertising, I think a lot of Tim, who's the local Oakmont computer guy, for $60, he will come into your house and set something like that up. Okay. Pick your streaming service provider. And if there's a trial period, try it. Get whatever you want for remote controls. So you can try them on all the devices, all the televisions. Now, when you're satisfied that what you've got is going to work, you have to return all that equipment that you're paying for. Write down the serial numbers when you take it in, because I will guarantee you there's a chance, maybe not that high, but a chance that they will somehow lose their record of your having turned it in. So be sure you have a record of what you turn in. Okay, we were just talking about this, but be prepared for change. This is an area that's changing pretty rapidly. The good news is what's happened is you can now get good service. So it's, you know, if we were having this conversation 10 years ago, we would be talking about all sorts of problems in having the service actually do what you want it to do. Okay, that's much less now. So most streaming services offer family plans. Now, the idea behind the family plan is like my daughter. She's got her husband, 3 boys, okay? Family plan means everybody can have their own account, their own stuff that they're doing. Okay, you don't mess with them. But it can also mean that you have somebody who is not in the household. It is technically not kosher. However, all that's required to keep it active is to periodically have that account sign in from the household's location that is the home location. Okay? Because all of these devices can travel with you. I picked up my Roku from one of my televisions, brought it here, plugged it in over there, and would you believe it works just fine? It also works just fine in Hawaii. It also works just fine in Klein Village, if you follow me. If I want to take it with me, I take it with me. I get all the channels, and they encourage that. Can't do that with your Comcast box. So, summary, cutting the cord and retaining your important programs as possible. You can, I think the rough estimate from people who've done it is you can end up saving roughly half. You will need to purchase some equipment, but it's cheaper than paying every month for equipment you're renting. In 1 year, the cost of what your rental is will more than pay for the equipment. However, you're now responsible for fixing problems. And there are a number of situations where Comcast is good at fixing problems. Okay, if you have a box that dies, okay, they say, pick up the box, drive to the store, you hand them the old box, they hand you a new box, you take it home and you plug it in. Note the you there. You plug it in. Okay, if you ask them to plug it in, it's a service fee, which can be like $100. It is definitely more complicated than using Comcast until you get used to it. Like all other things in life, you know, if you do something regularly, you get used to it. In my observation, and I don't know if this is strictly correct, one of the things that we have liked about the Comcast is the voice activation, where you can say, take me to this channel. Okay, that is more restricted in these other mechanisms. Okay, now, next meeting, we'll talk about entertainment channels and how to sort of make your way through them.
Yes, give me your calendar.
Special channels like international sports, okay? I was mentioning beforehand that we subscribe to something called MLB.com. And you ask, why do you subscribe to that? And the answer is because we're Boston Red Sox fans, and MLB.com carries the home feed for every game. So we're always watching the sportscasters from New England Sports Network. Okay, that's sort of good. And then periodically there are things like the Olympics or the FIFA soccer or whatever that you say, oh, I really want to watch that. Okay, and there's a simple algorithm for what you do. It's called subscribe, splurge, cancel. Okay. So let's say that you said, I really want to see some episodes of Ted Lasso. Okay. Well, you keep a list of all the stuff that's on Apple TV. And then when that list gets long enough, you sign up and you spend the next month and a half watching Apple TV for a while, get your fill of Ted Lasso, and okay, that works. It's like going to the movies. I'm going to do this. Okay. We'll also talk about technically this thing called casting. I don't want to underemphasize that, because if you want to be strictly off the cable, you can get Channel 2, Fox in San Francisco, on your device, on your phone, and you can cast it to your television. So you can watch Channel 2 for free on your television. Okay. So you got to figure out how to do that. We'll talk about that next time, because that's not a very simple discussion. Okay. We're going to take questions, and then those who want to do so, I'm going to take the other room. I have my YouTube TV and Roku set up, and I will talk you through how that works. I'm sorry for the people on Zoom. I don't know how to get you on it. So we're going to say you can watch. Actually, it won't be videoed either. Okay, questions. Okay, now with questions at this point, I'm going to ask, can somebody walk the microphone around? That way we can get it on. Okay, we had a question over here. Yes, we're recording this.
Test.
Well, you get to the recording by going to our website, which is oakmontfuture.com.
So, George, you haven't covered anything about recording. We don't watch much live at the time it comes in. We always record and then play back.
Yeah,
later.
we're gonna apparently talk about that next time, because I have some more homework to do.
I just want to also mention a caveat about buying a new smart TV. I realized I wanted to upgrade my TV, so I walked into Costco, saw all these displays, saw an LG TV of the size I wanted, and it was $400 or $500. I bought it like that. I brought it home. I plugged in my Fire Stick from my Amazon account and found out I couldn't get any of the PBS stations. I called LG. I tried everything. It turns out that the LG TV does not bring down any PBS stations. So I have to watch any of the PBS shows on my laptop. So be careful when you're buying a new smart TV.
Okay, again, I think PBS would be free if you were a contributor. I think you can get the live feed. Okay, we have input over here. Oh, yeah, we're getting input. We have a response to that. Then we'll go back and get Phil.
Basically, it's an agreement with her. I had a similar experience. When you get a smart TV or a Roku or any of those other devices, in order to show PBS, for example, the PBS app has to be available on that device. And on her particular smart TV, the PBS app was not supported. On my smart TV, I think it was Apple TV wasn't supported, and I wanted to watch something on Apple TV. So I bought a Roku.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you can get stuck like that. Some of these devices may not support the app that you want.
Yeah. The Fire Stick should allow you to get the PBS channel.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, as does Roku. I think almost any of the external ones would probably allow it, but some of the smart TVs may not.
Okay. We'll put that one, table that one as a to be followed up. Bill had a question or comment.
It was just more of the same in that a $500 TV may not cover the same stuff that a $1,000 or more TV would cover.
Welcome to the real world.
I have a question on this. Is it a matter of that you have to download the app like on your phone? The app may not be on the television yet. You have to get it.
I think the way you might want to look at this, Bruce, is
Yeah,
go
I
ahead.
mean, one thing you point out when you say that is each of these squares that appears on the Roku user interface represents an app that is running in Roku, in the Roku device. So if you want, there are probably hundreds of apps that don't show up so easily. This is another technicality. It gives you so much potential ability, but is very technical to use.
Yeah,
and I don't think that in my case, I don't think I could download the app the app wouldn't work on that device. So
okay, so let's skip to the bottom line on this one because we're not going to make a lot more progress in a second. The basic idea of every one of these boxes, whether you're talking about your smart TV as a box, or whether you're talking about Roku, or you're talking about Apple Fire, the Fire TV. What Bruce is saying is they can connect to an extremely large number of channels, but every channel is simply an app. If you think what an app is on your computer or device, that's all it is. So for example, when I signed up for YouTube TV, okay, it wasn't on my Roku. Okay, I had to go down to where it says plus, which is to add a new channel, hit the plus, then I had to search until I found YouTube. Luckily, it lets you search with letters, so you don't do it alphabetically, would have killed me. And then you load it, and it becomes available. So I swear I'm pretty sure that PBS Passport lets you do live. Okay, KQED lets you do live. Okay, Bill.
Someone had previously mentioned about being able to access stuff on your laptop, but not on your TV. Simple solution to that is connect your laptop to the TV with the HDMI cable. I keep my cable plugged into the TV, plug it into the computer when I need to, because I do things fairly often from the computer to be able to watch it on the big TV. Very simple solution.
Okay, I'm going to answer some of these questions with an email. If there's anybody who's not on the Futures Club email list, there's a pad of paper up here. Please give us your email address, and I'll make sure you get it. Phil makes a very good point that we talk about next month, but in addition to the thing we talk about casting, you can literally connect your device to your TV, okay? With some TV, not all TV. Okay, we're going to break here. Anybody who wants to stay in the other room, I have Roku and YouTube TV set up, and we'll discuss those. So
George.
I'm going to, yes, there's a question on the, okay.
You mentioned that the fellow, Tim, I think is his name, who has the TV, the
Computer shop, yeah.
computer shop. He helped me recently on the phone and told me, and I had heard him speak here before, how he gives a cheaper rate to the Oakmont people. And he charged me $120 an hour, and it was $60 for the half hour of help I got from him. Not 60 for the, for an hour. No,
No,
it's 120.
No, his rate is 120 an hour, but most things like you want to connect your own internet modem router, he says he'll get in half an hour. So it's $60. Anyway, but you're correct. His rate is 120 an hour. Yeah, I've got one more back here.
Who was it that had back here?
Okay, that's it. I'm going to hang out a few minutes in the other room.